Have you ever struggled to make your characters feel real? Have they felt just flat and two-dimensional? Today we're covering some tips for actually developing characters. Hopefully by the end we'll have a better understanding of what to do and what not to do when creating new characters. Often when writers create a character, they only have two defining features and makes it really hard for viewers to connect with those characters. Okay, tip number one is to actually have a good backstory. If you have a backstory to your characters, there is so much more that people can relate to because they either A, have gone something similar in the past, or B, understand how the character feels. Having a backstory just allows readers/viewers to just relate to a character. For example, as you saw in the thumbnail, Tai Lung has a phenomenal backstory. It is so good, and Zuko as well. Make those characters relatable is because of their backstory. Like, I understand how Tai Lung feels because of this and this and this. His backstory is what makes him relatable. If he was just the villain, it would make no, like, he would not be a good character if he was just the villain of the story and had absolutely no background. Tip 2, understand motivational and goals for your characters. If your character does not have a specific want and they are not trying to get that want, then there's no point in having the character there. But every character needs to have a specific want that they want to achieve, and they need to be going for that at all times. For example, Tai Lung wants to be the Dragon Warrior. He wants to get the Dragon Scroll. Step 3, character arcs and growth. Your character will feel flat and fake if they don't grow through what happens, or they don't change through conflicts or events that happen to them. They need to be able to change. People change when things happen to them, so do your characters. For example, Zuko's transformation from antagonist to ally is what makes him such a good character, because he actually changes. He realizes what he was doing is wrong. Characters who lack development and growth feel flat. They feel fake. Step 4, internal conflict and flaws. You cannot have a perfect character. Every single character needs a flaw or needs to be having at least some kind of internal conflict within them. Having internal conflicts within a character genuinely makes them, 1, relatable again, and 2, adds depth to their character. Let's look at Tai Lung once again. His internal flaw is pride. He is so proud of himself. He thinks he's the best thing ever because he deserved to be Dragon Warrior, and that ultimately leads to his downfall. Also, Zuko's struggle with identity, it also adds layers within his backstory. It's so important to have conflict within your characters. Step 5, realistic reactions and emotions. You cannot have a character react a certain way to something and not give them a reason to react that way. For example, if you're having a girl who just got cheated on and her reaction is, okay, that's fine. Why did she react that way? Has she been cheated on before? Does she not feel love in the relationship anymore, so it really doesn't matter to her? How characters react in certain situations will be based on their morals, their values, their backstory. It is really important to channel authentic emotional reactions when writing scenes that require it. For example, if you have felt a certain way about something, then it's better to channel that than to channel an emotion that you've never felt before. If you felt betrayal, channel that. If you felt one-sided love, channel that. It's much easier to channel emotions that you've experienced before than to channel something that you haven't before you actually excuse me. How to channel those emotions before actually writing it. Background and context, this kind of touches on the first point that I spoke about, but a character's background will 100% influence and change how they react to certain situations. With Tai Lung, his upbringing and his experiences with Master Shifu is what made him react that way when he didn't get Dragon Warrior. He trained for so long and so hard just to make Shifu proud, to get that title, and did he get it? No. Relationships and interactions. Having your characters have good and bad relationships with other characters adds depth to their character as well. Tai Lung's relationship with Master Shifu is literally what defines his character arc and his history and his background. Because Shifu pushed him so hard, and when he couldn't accomplish that goal, Shifu just kind of disappeared. And that defines his character. That gives him reason. That event, that significant event, is what created Tai Lung. It is what literally nurtured him into becoming that villain. Tip 8. Understand the difference between dynamic characters and static characters. Zuko, we're comparing them now. Zuko is a dynamic character because he's changing throughout the series. His morals, his values, what he wants, it's changing. Dynamic characters like Zuko are often way more compelling than static characters because people relate to them and people change, so it's not like one person ever stays the same, and if they do, there's a lot of internal conflict happening. For example, Tai Lung doesn't change. He doesn't realize what he is doing is wrong. He never ever at any point in time goes, wait, Po, we should be best friends. I'm sorry for everything that I did. He never does that. Po ends up sending him to the spirit realm. Oh my gosh, spoiler alert. Spoiler alert, if you guys haven't seen Kung Fu Panda. 9. Consistency and realism. It is really important to maintain character consistency, and by that I don't mean static character and the character's motivations stay the same and they don't change. When I say character consistency, I mean the decisions that they make will always be based on previous experiences. You cannot suddenly have a character that changes complete directions if they haven't realized something or solved an internal conflict or something hasn't happened for them to change that way. Inconsistency can make a character feel fake and unbelievable. You know inconsistent people. You have inconsistent people in your life, or you've had inconsistent people in your life, and at some point you feel like they're just fake. You don't believe what they're saying because they're being inconsistent. Don't have inconsistent characters. If they weren't written like that, then don't do it like that. Number 10. I'm sorry. Okay, number 10. Role of redemption and complexity. This is specifically in Zuko and Tai Lung. Having that role of redemption within their characters makes their characters so much more compelling. In the beginning, Zuko was a bad guy and he learned a couple things. Things happened. He grew and he became an ally. And Zuko's path to redemption, because we're watching it happen, his path to redemption makes him so much more a compelling character than what he would have been if he just stayed the bad guy. Think about Avatar: The Last Airbender and where it ended versus where it started. Do you think that they would have gotten that far if Zuko didn't change his mind? If Zuko just stayed the bad guy? If he was a static character and Zuko just stayed that way? Do you think they would have gotten that far? What do you think would have happened if Zuko didn't change? Because I think that changes a lot. Okay, and that's all for character development. Please keep these tips in mind, and if you have any other tips, leave them down below. Remember to subscribe to see the next video of Writer's Toolkit, and go check out my Instagram where I'll be posting more. Bye-bye!